Hey, 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 can you guys hear me? It's Mike here. Somebody throw something in the comments if you actually hear me. I've had trouble with my mics today. Well, I'm outside of my deck. It's a wonderful afternoon. Um, Thanks for tuning in to Treehouse. Uh, we had just a really bonkers week, and lot has happened over the past few days that has been kind of boiling over and under, I think, for a long time. If anyone can relate, just put that into the comments. Um, I'm not all that old, but um, I've just seen over and over again repetition, repetition of folks being hurt and not enough being done to ensure it doesn't happen again. Do you guys hear me okay? Again, I just want to make sure that my mic is okay. Awesome. Thanks, Gabe. So I don't want to take too much of your time today. I invited one of my friends on. He's running a little bit behind. But I do want to tell you a couple quick stories. When I'm a pastor. I'm ordained and licensed and all that good stuff. And I was working at this one role, and there was someone who was just giving me a really, really hard time. And I don't know if they knew they were doing it, but for sure I felt it. Um, and I remember just chatting with my wife, and like any good friend or girlfriend or boyfriend, she looked at me and put her hands on my face, just like this, very motherly, and said, Mike, you are not a cog in someone else's plan. You are an image bearer of God. You have value. You're not for your value is not wrapped up in how someone else can use you to accomplish their goals. And brothers and sisters, young folks, that's what I have to tell you today, is that, um, but in this culture, in these times, it sometimes feels like we are disposable, like our lives and our desires, they don't really matter. And I want to tell you that's a lie. You and I are not cogs in someone else's plan. You and I have value. Why do we have value? I believe we have value because God created us in His image. And that image has given us certain creative abilities. It's allowed us to be creative. It's allowed us to have ownership. It's allowed us to walk into hope and participate with the things that God's doing in our lives. And so, again, I don't want to take too much of your time. I know that there are a lot of folks who are really hurting and people who aren't feeling good about circumstances or they feel unsafe. And I want to tell you that I empathize. I can't always relate, but I empathize. Next few moments, I just kind of want to share a few scriptures, and hopefully my buddy will jump on with me. But here they are. It says, Hear my prayer. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Let my cry for help come to you. Do not hide your face from me when I am in distress. Turn your ear to me when I call. Answer me quickly. How many of you who are on or might be on or whatever really feel like in this moment of crisis that God's kind of hiding from us or not hearing our cry or the cries of our brothers and sisters who are really struggling? You could write it in the comment and post it. It's just a reminder again that, hey, my friend Mauricio's here. Hey, brother Mauricio. All right, give me 1 second here. I'm going to add Mauricio onto our stream. Hey, Mauricio, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know if I was able to make it, but
Oh,
here I am.
thank you so much for being here. We have a few of our young folks watching, but this will also be recorded so we could share with other people at some other point as well. I was just kind of walking through a little bit uh, of how things have kind of unfolded over the past week. I shared a story about one point. I was in a bit of a crisis in my life as well, and my lovely wife reminded me that I'm nobody's cog for somebody else to complete their mission or their work, and it's a reminder that we have value because we're created in God's image. So Mauricio, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
My name is Mauricio, and I am from Argentina. I moved to United States about 20 years ago or so.
Wow,
Yeah. So I got married here 12 years ago. Next month, June 15th, will be our 12th anniversary.
wow,
And two kids, Ariana and Rebecca. Ariana is almost 10 years old, and Rebecca 6 years old. Yeah.
wow. Yeah, that's really awesome. Mauricio, tell me about. Um, so you've been here about 20 years. Sorry,
Yeah.
my lighting is really awful. You can see uh, the sun is now behind me. Um, yeah. So tell me about what was like before you started following Jesus. Just that kind of journey.
Yeah. Well, my journey in faith started at a very young age. My dad present the gospel to me when I was 6 years old.
Hmm.
I'm 43 right now, and I remember that day, 6 years old, and it was my birthday, and my dad shared with me the story of Jesus, and he
Hmm.
told me that even though I was young, I needed Jesus in my life, and then I started that journey through Bible camps and church and many amazing leaders. I learned how to deal with myself,
Hmm.
deal with life, you
Yeah.
know, and getting a personal, strong relationship with Jesus. Um, and yeah, so along the way, I had different conversion experiences when
Hmm.
my relationship with God was tested, and later after the travel and that experience became stronger in my relationship with God. There's so many seasons in life.
Hmm.
We rediscover our relationship with God, um, and I if we have more time, I will share more deeply this. But for now, I think that this is a good starting point.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a couple of friends joining us. Gabe, he said hi, Marie, so you can see it. I don't know if you can see that. And then our friend Chris also joined.
uh,
Chris is uh, Chris is really excited because this guy is getting ready to graduate. So
wow.
really excited for Chris to continue and on to whatever he's going to go to, and it's really proud of his hard work to get to graduation, especially during this weird time.
Mhm.
And it's been so fun to see that. So Mauricio, what was it like? Kind of contrast and compare a little bit how it was growing up in Argentina.
Well, beautiful country, beautiful people, and big problems at the same time.
Hmm.
um, we are living in tough times right now. But unfortunately, I grew up with um, a, in a country that was and still very unstable.
Hmm.
Um, so I was sharing this with my wife that we had a time when we had five different presidents in 1 week.
Hmm.
So it was a time that no one knew who is the president today,
Hmm.
because they were just they couldn't keep up with the social situation, disruptions. So it was
Mm-hmm.
very interesting. I remember especially one time I went with my sister to the movie theater. It was
Mm-hmm.
7 p.m. and we went in, and I don't remember which movie, but it was kind of, I don't know, Monster Incorporated or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very childish movie. And when we went out, there was a chaos. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everyone was in the streets just throwing things, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just a different reality, different nation. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's like,
Right.
okay, at 7 p.m. everything was calm and nice. Movie is over, and now this is a different world. It was
Mm.
like apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this. It's not that every single day was like that, no, but time to time there was moments when you thought, could this get worse? And then the answer is, oh yeah, it
Mm.
could get worse. And out of that, my faith got stronger,
Mm-hmm.
because I quickly realized that I couldn't rely on my strength,
Yeah.
because my capacity is limited, and I couldn't rely on the government,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't rely on anything else under the sun. It was
That's right.
just that, that's the only choice. And God gave us strength through tough times. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there is a lament. There is a
Mm-hmm.
lament when things are wrong, when things are not going well. There is a lament, and we just pause and just cry out to God and say, God,
That's right.
this is tough.
That's right.
And that's the first step, going towards um, the healing process starts with pain.
Yeah.
We go to the doctor when we feel pain. If not, we don't go. And it's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate, but pain is not fun. It's not, no one likes pain, but at the same time, it's needed. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
through pain, we can realize, okay, something is broken, something is not right. And we
Mm-hmm.
need to pause, recognize that, name it,
Mm-hmm.
and then go to the source of healing. I'm sharing this because right now, I mean, last night I couldn't sleep like now. I will
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
jump into the topic, okay? Let's
Totally.
talk about the
I'm
elephant in
with
the.
you. I didn't fall asleep until almost 4 o'clock.
Yeah, well, man, I couldn't. Yeah, it was, yeah, about 4 a.m. and we couldn't sleep with my wife. It instills a burden in my heart.
Yeah.
It's really tough. And I was chatting with my wife. Say, this brings me a lot of emotions that 20 years ago, I used to deal with this, but
Yeah.
now I cannot believe that I live just 2 miles away from
Yep.
happening. Our church is 1 mile away, and we
Yep.
have several families that are living right into that. So tonight, I was talking by phone with some family members that they were just right there, and they were sharing with me things that the TV was not showing,
Yep.
uh, and it's just, I don't know. I came from a beautiful country with beautiful people, but big issues about
Mm-hmm.
the political, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very unstable,
Right.
and I deeply care about that, and it's painful to see
Yes.
your country, your people, going through that amount of sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Now I see it here. My family's here. I live here. I feel like an American. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
this is home. This is home now,
Right.
and I feel it the same. The same burden is in my heart. So all that to say, and I'm sorry that you asked me one question and I'm
That's
just
right.
right into
It's
another one.
all
But
good.
for everyone that is connected right now, I can tell you this. I grew up um, with a strong faith, and I shared this with my wife many times, because God was the only thing stable that I had.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I know that God was with me all the time, no matter what.
Right.
Everything else, I
Yep.
couldn't try anything else.
That's right.
Else. And somehow I came to United States, and got used to the putting my trust. I mean, without even noticing, but putting my trust in the systems, somehow in the government, somehow in the economy, somehow in, I don't know. You're kind of building um, a system where you feel like, yeah, I got in control.
Hmm.
And I feel that right now, no one can say that anything is under control, you know?
Right. Yep.
So my faith is once again under pressure and test.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I I cannot, I will not deny that it's tough, but once again, I I am I'm coming to the power of God that could lead us through this storm.
Hmm. Hmm. That's really good. That's really good. So, in a season when there was political unrest, um, how much of that was related to some of the, how do I say it, the aristocracies and the systems that the Spanish left in place to ensure certain folks had power and other folks didn't? Does that make sense?
Yes, and help me to redirect my thoughts if I
Hmm.
get lost in the
It's okay.
none of what I'm sharing. I have it written down, so I'm just
Yeah.
honest with
Right.
you guys.
Yep.
This is me. This is my
Yep.
pain. These are my struggles too. In Argentina, we deal with um,
Oh, you cut out a second, Mauricio.
oh yeah, in Argentina we are dealing with racial injustice as well.
Hmm. Right.
So we live in an unjust world. That's the reality. It's a broken world, and the brokenness shows maybe in a different way, but it's still the same evil around.
Mm.
And back in Argentina, this is to give you a context. um, 80% of the original people, like the indigenous people in Argentina, were killed.
Mm.
80%.
Wow.
So we carry that burden, you know. And to be honest, I started to ask God for healing when I came to the United States. When I was there, I didn't see the brokenness so clear. But when I came here, I started to find um, brokenness in this society in the United States.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
I thought, oh, wait a moment. In Argentina, we're dealing with kind of the same situation. And I started to rethink everything and honestly asking God for forgiveness
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
realized that so many times I was part of the problem, not the solution. So
Yeah.
many, unfortunately, without even noticing, I was part of the problem.
Hmm.
I have my heritage is kind of combined. My dad was born in Italy, so
Hmm.
50% Italian. My grandfather from the side of my mom
Hmm.
from Spain, so I have the 25% Spanish. But my grandmother, the mother of my mother, she was an indigenous group,
Hmm.
at 25%. And I grew up with that complexity of not knowing who I am. To be honest, who am
Right.
I?
Yeah.
And I didn't notice the complexity because that was me. I mean, it was
Right.
me. So I don't know. It was not trying to look at from from the other side of the question or uh, from a distance. I
Yeah.
was listening to that. So I grew up in a multicultural family.
Hmm.
When I came here, I started to notice that we in Argentina we were dealing with a lot of and lack of justice,
Mm-hmm.
and, um, we needed to name it and to
Mm-hmm.
we had a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and starting from that to fix the system. Now I'm living here, so I cannot speak anymore about Argentina, but this is a human condition. This is
Mm-hmm.
our society without God is is exposing the unfortunate brokenness that we all deal with that.
That's right.
So there are three levels. You know, it's the evil, it's Satan, our enemy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the source, and then the world, the brokenness of our society. But there is also the brokenness inside of us, and we need to recognize
Mm-hmm.
that we need three enemies. You know, I mean, no, we need. I'm sorry, we have three sources of evil or three enemies that we need to deal. And one of those is myself. I
Mm-hmm.
have the tendency to be the human condition. You know, I have the tendency to be um, egocentric, the tendency to be the tendency to be uh, disrespectful. That's and I need to deal with that with God
Mm-hmm.
and ask for forgiveness and try to change that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I move towards the society and do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's
Wow. So, Mauricio, we'll just take another few minutes. If I can steal a few minutes more of your time. I have a couple other things that I think are really inspiring. Um, First off, how do young folks, because many of our kids are coming from a from minority communities like myself, and um, we we look at things that happen, and as you get older, in my opinion, it feels more hopeless. But when you're young, you have some hope. And what? Let me see if I can phrase this question. Um, your church, Destino, focuses on the next gen. What are some things of people like us coming from these cultures where we're traditionally, systemically put on the outs? Does that make sense so far?
yeah.
Okay. So, what message do you have for us as a pastor and someone who's really focusing on building up the next gen to ensure that we get to my age, for our age in the 40s, and we still have hope that things can we can see kingdom of God peace right here on earth.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, first of all, your identity. Where is your identity coming from? We, at the early stages in our life, try to relate with others, and
Mm-hmm.
we are seeking this sense of belonging, and we are trying to relate with other groups and saying, okay, my identity is Latino, or
Mm-hmm.
is African American, or is, I don't know, I'm from the city or I'm from rural. So we're trying to connect with others and try to find this sense of belonging and construct our identity towards that. But we quickly realize that it's ineffective, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Effective because we are unique. We are
Mm-hmm.
unique, and so our identity comes from God. And let me tell you, you're listening to these words. You are beautiful. You're a beautiful person. You're unique. Don't try to be anyone else. Be yourself. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to be someone else, who is going to be you? The
Mm-hmm.
world needs you. We
Mm-hmm.
need, because there's only, you're one of a kind. And we need you. God made you special and unique. And go back to God and try to find your identity. Don't try to construct your identity on anything else, because anything else at some point will be ineffective, will be not enough, not
Mm-hmm.
enough. And I deal with that. Who am I? I'm an Argentinian, I'm an Italian, Spanish, Spaniard. Who am I? I don't know. I'm still trying to label myself. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I think that's not important. That's not the issue. That's not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Why we are focused on second gen? Because, well, two things I will say to you. I enjoy helping others. It's my passion.
Mm-hmm.
So I love helping others to become everything that God wants them to become, and helping others to find their call, their their destiny in life, and helping them out. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And second, I think that there is um, this joy. Well, let me tell you this: I'm a musician, and when I started to learn music, and my focus was become a composer. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to the university, and I always said to myself, I will never be a teacher because that's for the people that they don't have talent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm a composer, and I'm writing songs and all that, and I study how to compose for movies and
Mm-hmm.
but at some point in my life, God called me to be a teacher. And I thought that that was a second class of musicians. It's like, yeah, that's for people that they don't have talent. And yeah, the only thing that they can do is teach others. But then I I learned, uh, I found a joy that I will, I, I don't know, I cannot explain very well this, but
You
teaching.
could use there are Spanish speakers, so feel free to rattle off in Spanish. So Janelle and I will be like, we don't know what you're saying, but we have many bilingual students. So if you need to do it in Spanish, that's totally okay.
Hay un gozo que no lo puedo entender. There's a call. There's something inside of me that I found. Yo encontré um, a joy, una realización that was beyond my comprehension when I see others uh, growing, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of somehow part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So my motto, or my passion in life, is to add value to others. So I want to invest in the next gen. I want to invest. If I learn something, I just want to share that with you guys. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So this is me. I want to add value to others. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not pretending that I have all the answers, all the solutions. I'm not perfect on any way, but I have something that you cannot learn on a YouTube video. Something
Mm-hmm.
that you cannot learn even going to a class in the university. It's called experience. Experience. The only way to achieve experience is just living your life through a long season of years and experiences, and you learn things that you can teach others. At some point in your life, you start recognizing that experience is very valuable. So now I don't use only the knowledge that I have, but all the wisdom that I can recollect from people around me. So I learn
Mm-hmm.
from you, Mike. Great
Mm-hmm.
deal. And we need to learn from each other. So
Right.
me, I want to add value to others, and for
Yeah.
me, passing on this experience to the next generation is my passion.
Right. 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 Well, that's amazing. I'd love to chat with you at some point about leadership and how you do all that at another time, because we have some really brilliant young folks that are part of our treehouse that, again, because where we come from, I'll speak for myself as well, in a way we don't look like the stereotypical leader. We don't always get tapped first, but all that potential is inside of each one of us. And it just requires the right teacher and the right composer to pull it out. And so I'd love to talk about that because I think you do that better than anyone I know. And so, but I'll give you like again, maybe 1 minute or so, just kind of application. What can we do in this season of unrest, of image of God being destroyed, defaced, um, very divided, and a
Mhm.
history of hurt, like similar to you experienced, history of hurt in our country, um, that's really deep and in these communities of color. And on the same side, we have folks who are trying to protect people and their rights. And so, what wisdom? What are some an application we can take just in the next hour, 2 hours, next day?
Name it. Name the pain.
Mm,
I think that the first step towards healing is to name what's wrong, what's bothering you. Just name it. Name, this
mm-hmm,
is bothering me. Great deal. This is not okay. What I'm experiencing, this is not good. And you need to name it. You need
yeah.
to. We go to the doctor when something is wrong. I don't feel well. And the doctor, the first thing that they do is to understand the source of the pain. What
Mm-hmm,
is causing that? So that takes time, and we need to dig in and I'm trying to understand what is the source of my pain, what is really bothering me. And once you kind of figure out that it's just a long journey,
mm-hmm,
um, go to the source of healing. You know, we can respond to pain in many ways. And what we see right now in our city is one of the most horrifying expressions. It's very unfortunate. It's a tragedy. Uh, and my heart is very burdened for my city, for what's going on. And I know that people, the situation is so complex. I don't want to oversimplify it, but
yeah.
I just want to say that when when you are dealing with something, and over time that somehow explodes,
Mm-hmm,
and we are seeing this. That's why when we don't deal with pain proper way, it will explode sooner or
mm-hmm,
later. And we are
mm-hmm,
seeing the worst possible expression of that. Everyone is dealing with pain. So let's start with that. I'm dealing with pain. Mike, I'm pretty sure you're dealing with pain. Your own pain has its own name, and you are listening to me now, and you have your own painful story. So let's pause and name it. There is a book in the Bible called Lamentation, because we live in a society that is seeking success and is praising victories, and that's not healthy. I mean, it's good that we're aiming for good. That's fantastic, but at some point you need to pause and just name the problem. There's a book called Lamentations for a reason. We need to pause and just cry and say this is wrong, this is bad. But then don't stay there forever. Just move on. How? Go to God. If I knew of anything better than God, I will tell you right away. Honestly, if there's a better solution, I will tell you right away. But in my experience, 43 years old, God is the only way that we can deal our pain. If we can reconcile with God, if we can reconcile with ourselves, then we can reconcile with our brothers and sisters around that.
mm-hmm.
So first step for me is to recognize we all are dealing with pain. Just name
Yep.
it, and then seek help and seek God. And if you don't know how to do it, well, Mike is willing to help you out. Okay, and I'm here to help you.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, thank you. Would you just pray a prayer of blessing over the city, over Treehouse, over our Bloomington Richfield kids? Um, you could do it in Spanish, English, whichever. I had a friend who was from the Caribbean, and when he
Wow.
really wanted to pray, he would pray in his native language, and he knew like many of them, but he would pray in his native language, which is called Papiamentu. It's or
Mhm.
Pigeon Dutch or something like this. It was a slave language, so the masters didn't know. That's how he would pray. And it's pretty beautiful. So feel free to pray however you'd like, just a prayer blessing over our time.
Thank you. Well, the good news is that God speaks Spanish as well. So
That's right, he does.
thank you. Well, let's pray. Let's pray. Padre bueno, piedad, Señor, te pedimos misericordia sobre esta nación, tu misericordia sobre esta ciudad, tu misericordia sobre nuestras vidas. Nuestro corazón está afligido con gran dolor por todo lo que vemos que está pasando. Yo te ruego por cada hermano o hermana ahora conectado a través de este medio, para que tú les ayudes a lidiar con ese dolor en el corazón, a poder reconocer que hay algo que está mal, hay algo que está quebrado y que necesita ser reparado. Y también reconocer que solo tú puedes sanar. Tú que eres el médico de los médicos, tú que eres el doctor del corazón, tú que eres el que nos creaste y conoces bien cómo somos y cómo deberíamos ser. Te pido, Señor, que toques el corazón de mis hermanos, de mis amigos, y que los ayudes hacia el camino de la sanidad. Te lo pido en el precioso nombre de Jesús. Amén.
Amen. Amen. Well, brother, thank you so much. I will continue to ensure that young folks know where to find you. You're online presently with Destino. It's all bilingual, which is pretty amazing. You do a fine job of it. What I love about that is that many of our students, many of my friends, they are bilingual, but their parents might only speak Spanish or have limited English. And it's kind of cool because now the whole family could come and enjoy worship service together. So great work. Thank you so much for your time. Many blessings. Treehouse, have a good evening. Be safe. We care about you. You're loved. Thanks again. Peace.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.